All right, Black Box Radio. We are live in the box. It is January 2022. It's cold outside, and I'm here with two black men. God is good. God is good. I'm so glad to have a guest. We're at the community corner with one of the best things that's ever happened to me since 2020, meeting Antoine Qualls L. So I got my co-host with me. We riding strong. I'm Queen. I'm from Black Box Radio. I'm a host here. We are a media platform for Black excellence. Check out our website, as you see under our faces. Just check us out. Tune in. We Black. We do Black things. We talk Black things, and we platform Black people. So I want Twan to introduce yourself. Then we're gonna jump right into our guests.
Man, Toine Qualls, founder and director of Hope Baltimore, helping oppressed people excel with sustained support and pathways for economical barriers and removal of identity crutches that keep one opposed to like being recidivism, but we're creating pathways that builds economic freedom and living in society. And I'm the co-host of the Community Corner.
Yes, you are. Twan, this is our first joint, bro.
Got my man with me. Yes,
That's right. January 2022.
my man with me.
We got a special guest in the community corner.
Yes, sir. And he went out.
He went out and he came in. I love that. Russell Carrington. The fourth,
Hello. Thank you for having me, Queen. Thank you. My guy.
Mm-hmm.
My guy, my childhood friend.
That's what I love. So this is everything. This is a reconnection. This is a lot of good things going on tonight. Some information. So it's all good. So Twan, he told me so much about you, Russ. So I want you to kind of tell the people who you are, where you from in Baltimore. Just give us a little backstory, then we're gonna jump in and just chat about community.
Okay, I'm Russ Carrington. It's some phone calls I don't answer, but it's one that I really don't have a choice to answer when he calls. It's about business. So this is my good friend. But I'm from West Baltimore. I always like to claim I'm just a little black boy from Zone 15. Is my tag. But I'm from the Bell and Garrison area of Baltimore City. Born, raised over in West Baltimore. I've I guess a claim to become a real estate agent over the last 23 years, investor. We just moved into producing books and authoring some good stuff out in the community right now for home ownership, fixing or flipping. That's one of the things that we really focus on now is coaching fix and flips in Baltimore City and improving the neighborhoods and the communities around the area.
Okay, so you have a program for the coaching the flips?
Yes. It's called Ask Russ Carrington. It's actually live. You can go to AskRussCarrington.com. But we actually coach fix and flip. So I've been in the real estate for like the last 23 years. We kind of progressed and went into.
Oh, got a little pause. So we lost him for a minute. He's bumping. There you go. So there you go. Go ahead, Russ.
Yeah. So now we fully have a program that's fully acclimated that we do fix and flip coaching in Baltimore City. Well, actually in Maryland, but we focus in Baltimore City.
Okay. Got it. So that's an actual program. So we're gonna get there and talk about your program. You gave the folks how to get in touch with you. We're gonna talk about more of you grew up in 15 with Twan. So y'all was banging the streets of 15 when y'all were young.
Oh man, yeah. Listen. It's a tag. But if you didn't come out of certain areas, certain schools in Baltimore City, like in West Baltimore, Zone 15 kids, or Green Spring, Pimlico Middle School. If you didn't come out of those areas,
right?
You tested. You well tested in West Baltimore. You come out of there.
Exactly. Okay. So is that the bottom? Shoot.
So Russell was across tracks.
Yeah.
Okay. What that mean?
That's the tracks.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
He was on the other side of the track. So it was the top and bottom, and then it was a cross track guard.
Yeah, absolutely.
And these things were generational.
Yes.
Really?
So like we ain't had no choice.
What?
We grew up and like you know, homies was saying to him, like, yo, why you dealing with yo? Like, yo, I'm on the other side. My homie was like, yo, what's up, yo, bro, from on the other side? Like, bro, it's my man. Like, you know, and he was saying the same when I was over there, you know. Took me up on the corner, like, bro, you good. Like, I'm gonna run right here to the other store, you know what I'm saying? You good, you know what I'm saying? And the same thing. And then it came a natural thing, whereas though I was hanging over there and he was hanging over outside, you know. So like, and the respect of love and homies in the hood and friendships was built. And you know, like we was discussing, some lives and altercations like really happened through every day of school, really.
Through school, wow.
Yeah, every day. Like wake up, go on, get out, middle in class,
wow.
All, you know, and specific names and features of people when places come outside and like, and wasn't no cell phones and none of that stuff back then. You know, come outside and whole woods was there, like, yo.
Outside to get the news back then,
yeah.
You couldn't call nobody,
Yeah, you called some phones, maybe paid somebody back then, but yeah, you still had to get to a phone back then.
Okay.
Yeah, no social media.
No social media.
Thank God. If social media was back then, we'd be really in trouble.
You said thank God.
Rough. They be thinking I be tripping when I be telling them that, bro. They be thinking I be tripping when I say that. Like,
no doubt.
Woo. Why? No video?
No video.
Wow. No video. Wow.
Yeah, no video and no social media gangsters. You had to live up to what you was preaching back then.
So you definitely got to know how to throw some hands.
Yeah. You'll
have some tools in your toolbox,
huh? or down to Wanda somewhere. Yeah, you had to really show and prove back then.
Yeah, you had to make it happen. Okay, so y'all came under those times. It was rough. 15 was rough. So what was your trajectory, Russ? So what happened to you?
You know what? You said it was rough, but I think it was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was rough, but it was beautiful. It was a community back then. So no matter what the conflicts were back in those days, it was still a community. Everybody still knew everybody. So like Toine said, you lived across the tracks, or you lived on the other side, wherever you lived at. If people knew your name, people knew who you were. You went to school together. It was a different era back then. So it still was a sense of community. People, grandmothers and aunts and uncles still lived in those communities. It wasn't what we have now, where it's a vacant every 2 doors down from you. I mean, it really was a community over that side of town. So Zone 15 really has just, become something totally different now. But back then, it was really, really a community. No matter how rough or how tough it was, if somebody got hurt or somebody got killed or somebody was fighting, like Toine said, we lived in 2 different communities. But you knew, the word traveled. You found out about it the next day at school, or somebody told you about it, but you found out. It was really still a community. No matter how tough it was, you grew up and people knew who you were.
I think that is the issue we have in Baltimore. There are no communities.
Yeah, absolutely.
Communities are so fractured. You need that ecosystem. It is almost like your buffer to some of the things that's in the streets. And that ecosystem is so important for, I think, us as a community, like Black people. We're tribal. We need community in that sense. It's good for us. I can't say for other people, but I know a lot of us who came from communities, we see the benefit. We see why Baltimore has so many issues. You take kids, they move every year, or their life is so chaotic, and then you expect for them to not have chaos going on inside of them. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. We talk about this in our little groups that I move in about us having forms of a sick village. So and we carry those things over to the next village that we create, now next families that we create, unless it's healed and is worked on and talked about. You kind of carry those things on to the next village, and to the next community, to the next area. But at some point, somebody has to make the recognition that it has to stop. How do you stop that trend? But I think a lot of what we faced in those communities now, that I look back at it as a real estate agent and as a developing builder now, I look at how it was more institutional, how they removed some of the foundation from the communities. It was more institutional. So not only
intentional. It was intentional.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
intentional.
So not only like what Toine's mission is with incarceration, I think it was also direct purpose to remove some of the elderly people out of those communities. So when I go back to look at what areas we're going to build in and we're going to develop in, and the areas that we're going to revitalize homes in, we don't find any of the foundation there. You know, they're almost eliminated. Or we go into an area where we see 2 or 3 senior citizen buildings in one neighborhood, but the problem is you remove the foundation and put them into this one this one foundation here and this one building.
Oh, he's paused. So the anchors of the neighborhoods were removed, and it was intentional. You know, all pieces of the neighborhood, all the pieces of the community. So now we see these fractured communities, and we see fractured people, don't we, Toine? All right, Russ.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, they removed the elderly people from the community, so you don't have Miss Barbara or like Toine can remember Miss Edna. Little Barbara's mom. You don't have her on the block anymore to keep the foundation there, and then you move those people into senior citizen buildings. Now you create a area of blight, not only in the houses but also in the foundation of the neighborhoods. You just don't have it.
Absolutely, and we see it over and over. And Baltimore is synonymous. I remember I'm an implant. I came here, and I remember, like I was telling Toine, I went. One of my we used to go down Park Heights, and people would be everywhere up to Belvedere. People, especially those strips going up, house after house after house. People, something going on. It was hot, you know. It was always in the summer. Cookhouse on the front, you know. All of these people,
3 or 4 families
there now, and it is not one house is there. Not one house. It's
3 or 4 families in one house.
Yes, those houses were huge too. They were huge, and it is really so sad that there's no area. There's nothing even there. I went through there. I didn't even see a rat. I'm like, even rats are gone. I said, my gosh.
Yeah, but that was purposeful. I mean, and again, when you go back to look at the plan for that, I really attribute that to our city government, our city representatives who allowed that to happen, and they got voted into these positions over and over and over again. And they sold these communities. They really just sold them. Like, we shouldn't have a system that they have to name vacants to value, because that neighborhood was already valuable. Like, we didn't have vacants. The vacants were created.
Yeah. It's so unfortunate. And you know, like, one of the highest incomes is in 15 income earners for the state. We're not talking about for this city, for the state, the Preakness. It is one of the highest income earners for the state, and we don't want to say that's why it's happened, but we understand that there's been a lot of investment in Pimlico, and then the areas around it. Did they want to remove the people? Is this something that was pre-thought? But it looks very intentional to get rid of housing when we have a homeless population that's swelling, and we're actually ridding communities of houses. It doesn't make sense on a grand scale to me.
You know, like back in the early 80s, late 70s, you know, Park Heights was like an area where a lot of community people were buying properties and opening stores. Like from the 4200 block of Park Heights all the way up to the 43 was owned by people who lived in the community. You know, basically fish markets and corner stores and beauticians. Cold Spring was owned with like Mr. Ray's, and all this stuff was like community where development for economics and jobs and things for summer for kids was dead. You know, Christmas trees and crab shops would be sold, and these were our like first hustles. You know, me and the guy was talking about the other day, like how newspapers and things of that nature were like the first primary things that a lot of dudes with their red wagon, they porked it and they had blocks and blocks, and that's how you really got known around, by doing that. Oh, that's little shorty, throw the newspaper. That's little such and such, you know, and then on every corner, squeeze in selling newspapers, you know. But later on, like, something triggered and identity, they seen an investment and was like, we gotta buy up, and infatuated a lot of like hardship, and totally it became a drug infested control where that became the thing because it was hard back then. People were making like $3 and $5 and $7 an hour. You know what I'm saying? They was coming home struggling trying to pay rent. And youngins was like, well, I can make $1,000 in one sale. I can help. But in the process, we didn't know the damage of mindset that it was going to carry on to generation. That was nobody's idea, but then the using and getting high, to going to prison, to everybody trying to help. And that's how they swallowed the snatch and grab on us. Yep, got them.
Mm-hmm.
So I always tell Russ this, that like, it's a vague miracle that coming out of that hood and those trials and errors, and then becoming a real estate agent to help provide housing at affordable prices, and then helping people who don't know financial measures to get loans to get the house. And he bidding against big companies. One day we was riding around, he had a bidding going on. He was like, "Short, I got to handle this. I don't mean to dip out on you, but this guy can handle these people trying to get this house and other people trying to sell it to somebody else. I want to make sure that they get it." So it's like, and people really don't know, but like the education level that he has like gotten and gave back to help, and others around the city that follow with him and just doing the same thing to buy back in these communities.
All right, Miss Queen, I hope I don't buffer out one more time, but I want to jump in on what Toine just said. I want to take this back to the community part and to talk about that bring us forward to what I was talking about, the sick village syndrome. I grew up in an environment in my home where when I originally was talking about making an effort to get my real estate license, I had a person in my household who didn't encourage me to do that. When I got into trouble and I went to go take my real estate class, I would say it was like maybe 30 years ago. I went to take my real estate license. I get my real estate license. I took my principal practice class. The person who was in my house said, "Who's going to buy a house from him?" So you can imagine the mental capacity I had to be able to fight through that. When he mentioned that to me, I said, well, you know what? He might be right. Who's going to buy this for me? Who's going to buy a house for me? Because I didn't know anybody around me who was African-American who sold houses.
Wow.
This was 1989, 1990.
So you're saying you didn't know one person that was African-American who was selling houses ever around you?
Not at all. Not at all. I was introduced to it by a friend of ours that was not too far from me. He was an older guy, but at the time, like 89, 90, he was buying dollar houses. But we didn't know that a real estate agent even existed. We didn't know that our parents bought a house from a real estate agent. We didn't know any of that kind of stuff. We didn't know that was even an industry. I had no idea that was the case. So when I went and got my real estate, I went to go take the principal practice class. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. My mother's friend said, "Who's going to buy?" Even once I took it, so I was discouraged from even taking state boards because I had to think about it again. Like, who is going to buy this from me? All of my sphere of influence was hustlers. Guys lived in the neighborhood. They were girls that we knew that went away to work at the FBI building in DC that had a little bit better education than us, that went to Western and went to City, but they weren't buying houses back then. So I didn't have a person that I could look to or mentor to say, no, you should go ahead and just go do that anyway. So I didn't do it. I didn't do it for 10 years. I didn't go back to take my real estate license. That was in 89. I didn't go back to do it until 2019 or so, to go back to go take my real estate license.
So someone discouraged you in your house and you felt that you couldn't. Why did you feel that no one would buy a house from you? Just because you weren't black? What was it?
Yeah, mainly because I was black and I just didn't have anybody around me that was motivating me to go do it. Like I would say, like other households and incomes, right? You see a generation of wealth being built, a generation of education being built. Like
Sure.
we got to see our grandparents or our sisters go away to college.
Got it.
You had that in your household. In our household, we didn't have that. So we didn't
Yeah.
have a tradition of economic stability in our household. So it wasn't a platform for me to be able to see that, okay, I'm gonna make this move, I'm gonna go in the military, or I'm gonna go to college, or I'm gonna go. That wasn't in our area. The only thing that was in our area for us in our little circle was you're gonna be a drug dealer. What's gonna be the outcome?
Yeah.
So that's the only.
Yeah,
the only
we
thing was
looked
gonna be a
at
drug
people
deal.
in the map. Just imagine we grew up in the crack era, so we didn't see that. I mean, the blight was around us, but we didn't see this. My stepfather worked at the post office, but he was getting high also. So we didn't have all those things around us are kind of like discouraging. So I didn't have that. So 10 years later, when I the whole decade later, 10 years later, I end up running back into somebody else. I end up running to a friend of mine who actually was an ex Ravens player. He had gotten hurt, and me and him was talking, and he was getting ready to go take his test. I said, "What, you going to take the test? What?" He said, "To take his real estate license." I said, wait a minute. I did this before. Now I got somebody that can go with me. I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna go get this done. So once I did that, it kind of opened me up to a lot more. But another thing to add to that too, though, not only once I got my real estate license, and I had that discouragement back then, once I got my real estate license, it exposed even more of what we weren't exposed to. Once you get your real estate license, now the doors are open and you have all these different nationalities to sell houses to. But again, let me take you back to our little neighborhood. Just imagine that in Baltimore City, you can go from kindergarten to the 12th grade, graduate from high school with never going to school with a white person.
Yep.
What
Never
other
been.
community can you say that can happen in? You can go from kindergarten, K through 12 in Baltimore City.
Really?
And never go to school with a white person.
White person.
Really?
Yeah.
Or let me take it even better. Another nationality. Let me take it from off of just white people.
Right.
Another nationality.
Right. They don't get it. They show. I'll be trying to tell them, like, the things we see today, we didn't see
I'm
in
not
it.
sure. Where did you tell me you came from?
I came from South Carolina.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, y'all might have had.
All I went to school was white people.
Yeah. No. So yeah, in Baltimore City, that's how segregated this city is. You could have gone from kindergarten, K to 12, with no other nationality.
With only black people.
No white people.
No other people than black people.
That's it.
That's it.
No.
Whoa.
And everybody that's in your community.
I don't think you could say that in any. Nobody could actually say that. Wow.
Yeah, and let me add one on to Toine's piece. You not only can go to K to 12, you can go to prison in Baltimore City and not be locked up with any other nationality.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, back then.
Baltimore City jail and only be with other black people that's from
that's it.
Other communities.
Just
and
us.
then, as you go through the system, the state system, you may run into other races and other situations, but you can go from all those different things I just named you, K through 12, and then go get incarcerated and only be around white people. Only be around black people.
Black people, yeah.
That says something. That's wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your peers. So my story is a little bit fighting through those things. So I had to change, not only for me to be able to elevate, for me to grow, I had to not only change community, I had to change the community, people, places, and things for me to be able to have an enlightenment for success, for me to have a chance to be able to go learn some things and really come back truly into that community and figure out how to be able to help it.
Oh, that makes sense. Wow. So coming out of 15, we all know what Toine went through. Did you have any struggles when it come with the legal system coming out of 15?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Listen, up until 18, I think up until I was younger, like with coming out with Toine. Yeah, I had all those encounters like that when I was younger. We probably got picked up from the police like every 3 days.
Wow.
15. But I happened to get locked up. I think I was sharing a story with you, but I was sharing a story with you that Toine actually said something to me And Toine, we didn't share this with you yet, but Toine was talking to me one time. He's doing all this community engagement work. He's doing all this great stuff in the city with prison reform. And Toine went to go introduce me to somebody, and he said, "I got my good friend Russell Carrington, and he's doing great stuff in real estate. And yeah, he an ex-felon." And I was telling you, Queen, I was like, who? I was taken aback. I was like, who the hell is he calling an ex-felon? Did he just call me an ex-felon? Did he really just say that? But you know, I didn't get a share this with Toine. I had to sit back down and humble myself and think about this. When you get arrested with a felony, I shared this with you too, Miss Queen.
Yeah, I want.
When you get arrested, and you have a felony conviction on your record, whether you serve time or not, you're still a convicted felon. If you take probation before judgment, and on your probation it's a felony, you're still a convicted felon.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't matter how long. I was sharing with you, my arrest was 32 years ago.
Right.
32 years ago. You can't even find it on the open public sites. If you go, I share this with you, Miss Queen. If you go to case search, you can't find it. You have to go to Annapolis to go to microfilm to go do it. But
wow, but it's still on your. I bet it's still come up under that name though.
Come up under his name.
Yeah.
No. Well, it'll come up under. It'll come up under sieges. If you run the sieges program that the police officers have, they see it.
So that's law enforcement. So it'll come up under that law enforcement.
Oh yeah, they'll see it. I was sharing with you that I got in trouble probably about maybe 10 years ago. I got into some trouble, slight trouble, but I remember going to court and the state's attorney brought that issue up. This was 22 years ago at this time when I got into this trouble. And she said 22 years ago. So I was like, what do you mean? I had even forgotten about that. I had to charge. I did all these things in my life, gotten married, changed my life, 3 kids, 3 beautiful grandkids. All these things I think I shared it with you, all the licenses that I carried, my real estate license, title producer, property and casualty, all these licenses that I carry. But I still had this stigma that I keep having to explain as you go through these licensing process. It doesn't matter how much the success is, you're still that convicted felon no matter what.
It always comes back.
Still marked.
They'll come back. So I even tried to get it. I was sharing with Toine. I even tried to get it expunged, and because in my case is a little unique, probably not unique because I think I shared this with Toine. It's probably not unique because once whatever you do, it doesn't matter. Once you turn 18, this is for the young guys too. Once you're 18 years old and you go into the adult system or your crime becomes an adult conviction, it's going to cover you for the rest of your life.
Right.
So these kids want to say, I hear young guys say, well, I'm only 22 or I'm only 23. I can do whatever. Nah, listen, what you're doing now is going to carry with you for the rest of your life. I'm 50 years old. I carry a conviction from 32 years ago. 32 years, longer than my kids have been born. My kids have been born. Wow. Older than my children. So how do you escape that stigma? So I always big Toine up for his fight in Annapolis and the fight to change legislation, because that's what it's going to take. Like, it doesn't matter. Ms. Queen was talking about how our guys in our community, like I was discouraged when I was younger not to go get my real estate license. For me now at this age, the message is to let these kids know it doesn't matter what's on your record. You still need to work through it. You still need to achieve. Don't worry about what the results are going to be. You still got to put in the work to get what you want to get to, the level that you want to get to. All you have to do is disclose it. You just have to disclose it. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't carry it as like something you got to put in your back pocket. Just disclose it. Tell them what the circumstances was. Explain to everybody loves a great redemption story. Everybody likes a great redemption story. But you got to do the work though. You can't have one foot in and one foot out. You got to do the work. If you want to redeem yourself, you want to make sure that the public accepts you the way you are and who you are, and not who that person was at 18. You got to do the work.
Absolutely. And that's what's important. That, we all make mistakes, or we all do something that might follow us, but it's a way to redeem it.
Absolutely.
You know, and that makes sense. So you were able to get all of these certifications by disclosing your background.
Absolutely. You have to disclose it, and then you have to explain where you are now. You have to disclose. I show it on all of my stuff. I tell them, I say it, I explain it, I send in a letter with it, whatever it is, and I explain to them what I've able to overcome, what that circumstances was, how old I was when it happened, and how I was able to overcome it.
Got it. Got it. Got it. So,
and as long as you explain it, I mean, of course, and let me say this, I'm not talking about violent crime. If you got violent crime, that's a whole different stuff. So, bro, you got some other things you got to work on. We're talking about drug convictions, loitering, misdemeanors. In my case, back in that day, it was an escape. And Toine could talk about this a little bit more than I can. Back in those days, when we were getting arrested at 18 and 19 years old in the 80s, our system was built that they were looking for convictions. That's all they were built looking for. They were looking for convictions. So you might have got off from a probation, but you had no idea that your probation was tagged to a felony.
Wow.
And I took an attorney to court with me. I took an attorney to court with me and paid big money and still left with a felony. And how if you're at 18 years old, how do you know the difference between a felony and a misdemeanor, or whatever the conviction is? How did you know? How would you know?
Right. The attorney, that's his job to tell you.
No, right. And now listen, my charge again is so old, Miss Queen, that the judge is dead, my attorney is dead, my co-defendant is dead.
Wow. Man.
You know, I always, Russ, you know, and I always like tell people, like, we grew up, all these terms are out now: school to prison pipeline, private industry complex. And I always say, like, when I started hearing this stuff, I grew up under it and affected by it, but didn't know it. So we was actually being the study test goats on how, who could survive from it, how it was going to work, and epidemically, like, who was going to be the ones to promote it for them. Because, like you say, we was catching charges, and lawyers was like, listen, give me such and such. I can beat this. I can get you a suspended sentence or probation. You can be home tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, and all we was thinking, like, I ain't going to prison.
But you're going to cop to a felony.
Man, I'm going to take this. I'm going back up, and we going to bop. Because, like, one time, I copped out. And then that same day I got home, I got rearrested.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
You know, they was like,
wow.
You know, only like, yo, you tripping, yo, you must love, man. And I'm running. Like, I don't even care because, they gave me a no bail, whatever. One thing I know, like, and some things I fought it and weighed out, but then sometimes sitting and waiting took so long. That they kept offering me, well, we'll offer you this. You want me to take this? They come right back the next day, put you on a move list. We offer you 10 a day, we'll offer you 5. Just take the plea of the 3 years suspended, and you can be home. Like, nah. Or they'll come back and say, guess what? We're going to offer you 15 years suspended, you can go home today. Wow, that sounds like a great idea. You got to get back on the streets. I ain't even thinking about the reporting part for the next 5 years that anything can happen.
Or 10 years, or 20 years.
Or 20 years.
Or 20 years. How you gonna report in 10 years?
So they have you on papers that long.
Yeah. That was the big trimester phase. That's how they came up now with these big suspended sentence plus.
Wow.
You know,
so testing all of that out.
Absolutely.
Because Baltimore's a test tube. Everything thrown at people were thrown in Baltimore, from redlining to
addictions,
all of their tests. I mean, everything that they could think of, they threw in Baltimore. They started it here.
Absolutely.
So they did the same thing when it comes to the penal system. You guys were the test tubes, eh?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And it was only the fittest was going to survive. Absolutely.
Yeah,
man,
absolutely. And then you don't know. Again, you don't know what you don't know. So at 18 and 19 years old, you take these plea bargains.
Yeah.
If you happen to survive and turn 50,
wow.
Or if you happen to survive and turn 40,
Because no one is thinking that you even gonna go there anyway. You're not gonna make it.
No.
Wow.
No. If that happens, if you happen to make it that far, you know what's gonna happen. So the funniest story, some of these same politicians back then, I'm in the same rooms with them now.
Wow.
I'm in the same rooms with these same guys now.
And now they're
Not
like
their children,
reform.
but these guys. So
Prison
I
reform.
see them and I think about the damage that they've done.
Wow.
But I mean, what do you do? I mean, you can speak out on it. Like that's why I said whatever Toine calls, it's a pickup. It's instant. Like our thing is to keep supporting him with everything we possibly can do. Housing, education, whatever he possibly could do, because he's the pipeline for people like me. He's that pipeline. He's that conduit that brings brothers that come out the system at 18, at 19, at 20, who really don't get it at 40. But if he brings them to the table where we can explain to them, this is what the outcome is going to be.
Yeah.
This is what's going to happen. You might not be thinking about it right now at 18, 19, 20, 25, but listen, bro, at 40,
yes.
Check this out.
Things look different.
You're going to want to buy a house.
Yes.
You're going to want to get an apartment at 25 or 30. Check this out. You might have some kids.
You can't even get an apartment. Yeah.
What you don't know is the apartment complex is going to pull your criminal background.
Yeah.
Right.
When you want to go buy a house, the mortgage broker is going to pull your criminal background.
All day. Yep. Yeah.
They don't care that your credit is 720 or 840. It's an 840 credit score, and you got 5,000 to put down, and you've been working as a longshoreman down at the point. But you got these 2 felony convictions.
Yeah.
And you're not getting nothing.
Not getting that.
And you're not getting no federal money.
And the other catch is if you having a child or dealing with a female and say, well, all right, well, I'm gonna put it in her name, and they find out, you know, they're gonna put a brick wall in between saying, listen, either you get rid of him or you gonna lose the house.
Oh yeah. So
they break up the family too. So they come to break the family whole down.
Miss Queen, that these conversations that we have, these are the workshops that we're looking to build for these people that's coming out. So not only coming through Toine and his organization, should you be able to have the re-entry part of it, but most importantly, you need to have the mental health part attached to it.
That's right, bro.
These guys have been incarcerated for 2, 3, 5, 8, 10 years. You ever hear the joke when you run into somebody who they just came from jail, and the guys laugh and joke and say, "Oh man, he's stuck. He act like he back in the 80s." He is. He's stuck.
He is. He's stuck.
No, he's stuck. He's stuck in a 5x5. Yeah, he is stuck. His mental capacity is stuck back there.
Real talk.
He has no idea what's happening out here. So you got to get this person reacclimated back to that before you want to re-enter him back into society or back into our communities, or his grandmother's house, or his cousin's house, or his girlfriend's house. The girls don't know how to deal with him either. You think you getting a new person, but this guy,
you getting a bomb.
He on snap level.
Yeah, you getting a bomb, ready to go off. You know.
Yeah, so it's a level of reentry, a level of tools that need to be applied to reentry. Not only the support that Toine and them giving them, not only the economic support, not only the housing support, but the mental support needs to be attached to that too.
They gotta have a toolbox.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're putting folks out and expect for them to just be able to get up and go. That's not how trauma works. That's not how the human spirit works. And if we're going to rehabilitate, we have to fully rehabilitate folk.
Yeah, and actually, you know, it's a word you just used just now that we connect in our little circle that we talk about. When these guys come home, they go get with these females as soon as they get home, right? They don't get their stuff together, but they get with these females, right? And it's all about trauma bonding.
Yep,
it's about trauma bonding.
What
and
it is.
We talk to people. They like, what do you mean by trauma bonding? Russell, where you get that term?
Yep.
It's trauma bonding. They connect what they already know, and they sit in these groups together. This girl, this woman, and that's the only reason they together. You ain't together with him because he just did 30 years or 20 years or 10 years.
It's the trauma.
It's the trauma bond.
It's trauma. Yeah.
I always tell people trauma doesn't have a time period. It continues to manifest.
Yeah.
and don't expire. And that's it. And if you don't deal with it, it will continue to manifest, and you will teach it.
Yeah,
So,
no doubt, no doubt.
So it's very important for us to look at the situation and really provide toolboxes, and that's what Toine is doing is so important, because that we have to change what we see.
Absolutely.
And the folks who've done it, you guys are the one can change it. I can talk about it all day long, but you guys did it. You know what I'm saying? And we got to have these type of movements whereas we are really rehabilitating people and giving them a toolbox for survival. Because right now,
and really understanding what it means, the reentry, really what it really means.
What it really means, yes.
So I think what happens in Toine's case is I think these organizations gravitate to him, or these people who want to start it, they gravitate to him because he is the nucleus for it. They know that he knows the information, but they have the administrative part. When those two get together, they are only functional on the matter of the administration part of it, and they forget that it's a person that's attached to it.
Yeah.
It's a person to it. And Toine brings that person to it. And by the time they get this grant money, the financial part kicks in. I really truly believe that these organizations forget that Toine is the conduit to the streets.
All day.
He's the conduit.
You don't
to the
have that conduit. None of this works.
Yes, absolutely.
None of it works. That's why we have the problems we have, because the street stops listening to certain folk.
Yeah.
That's just it. And he brings that. He brings that partnership with the street that makes it authentic, and they want to be a part of it. They see it. You know, when you're in trauma, sometimes your response is what you see, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got to see it. It's no, well, in 2 years this gonna happen. No. Someone can look at Toine, know what happened, see what happened, and see the change that's happening. It's all there. You know, what you the secretary, bro?
No, they got.
Look at him. He working, bro. I love it.
That ain't me today. That ain't me today, Miss Queen.
Yeah, let him do his thing.
Yeah.
But so, Russ, as you kind of because you've been in this game a minute. You didn't just wake up and you're here. No, you've been here a while. So you've had this conviction for over 30 years, but you've been able to accomplish all of these things.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about you creating a toolbox for folks to understand this is what you do to go forward? You know what I'm saying? Because you had a conviction at 18, bro. Most people would be like, "Oh, I'm in trouble."
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
you went on and kept going.
You know, I did into that field, but I realized quickly that I'm playing in an arena that I'm really not strong at. That's not my strength. So I opened up. So with the houses that I had back in like 2009, 2010, right when the market was crashing, the real estate market was crashing, was doing really bad. I opened up a number of transitional houses. So what I quickly realized, what I originally opened up was this thing called Accord Academy. So what Accord Academy did was we were a youth mentoring group where we helped kids transition that were transitioning out of foster care. So with these young guys or young women that were aging out of foster care, they still had these problems to re-enter the street level. Same thing, re-entry, because they come out of foster care. It's almost the same element, right? So we were putting them in housing to help them transition. But I really learned really quick that it takes a special person to be able to do this. To see the trauma that these kids were going through at 17 and 16 and 15 years old with sexual diseases. Yeah. The mental health trauma they went through, the abuse that they dealt with, that's kind of overwhelming. I'm coming into this thinking I'm providing a housing piece for these kids to transition in, and we're teaching them how to.
You get all the trauma too. You're not going to just get housing. You're going to get the trauma.
We were teaching them lifestyle skills, but we had no way to be able to help them with the emotional skills it took to be able to make that work. So that quickly, and I funded this all myself. I didn't have a grant program or another way to be able to fund this. I funded it on my own. So this goes into where Toine's in that when these guys come home and these people are open up these transitional houses, there is no money for housing, for transitional housing. There is no money for that. So these people getting in and they're like, we're going to open up a group home, we're going to open a transitional house. It's no money for that. Medicaid, medical assistance, they don't pay that. So the housing portion there is no money. So these guys that are out there doing it on the flim flam, they're taking TCA money, they're taking food stamps to be able to house these people.
Yeah.
But truly, you have to have the medical component attached to a transitional house for it to work.
Yeah. But now, bro, they also you have to be certified to have a transitional house.
Yeah, I hope they are. Yeah,
now they're certified. You just can't just open one and have one. You got to be certified by a state agency now. That came out in 2020.
Yeah, you need it because it's a lot of work.
They had to regulate it. Exactly.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. So I did that portion of it. But again, I only attacked it from the housing part of it. I opened the transitional housing up from the housing part of it. I had another partner that was with me that was handling the support part of it, and we partnered with Healthcare for the Homeless because they had a mental capacity issue. Component there that could help the people, help these kids make the transition. But that was a lot. That was a lot for me because I really wasn't getting into it for that part. My focus was strictly on the real estate part of it and housing people. And teaching them life skills, teaching people life skills. But to deal with some of these guys, man, at 17, 18 years old, who they don't listen.
Well, they're not gonna listen because
it's a different mentality. It's a different mindset.
It's a different mentality.
Try to give them something, and they're not ready for it. Again, you have to truly transition these people out of prison, out of foster care. It takes a lot of work to be able to do that.
Yeah. And that's why we see a lot of the prison population are foster kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they're both in a malicious system.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. Okay.
Man, and a lot of people, like Russell just said, like coming up, they got traumatized, verbally abused, they shut down, was told not to say nothing, then went in prison, and they got these charges, and then acclimated in that lifestyle, in that living condition daily. Was another set of rawness of trauma that sat on them.
Yeah.
And then looking at the news and then seeing homeboys, friends, shootings, then that set another trauma on them. Then like family cut them off. Now you got emotional abandonment, hurt, but not even looking at the abandonment that they played, because that was one of the things I had to look at. The abandonment that I played on my family, my daughter, my nieces, my cousin, her mother, and the trauma that was left. And then we just really like sat down and really like talked about this stuff. And she was telling me, and I was like,
wow,
apologize, man. You know what I mean? Because people will see, and like you said, they'll see, but like we don't know what people go through, and looking at and it had me think back about what I went through with my mother, you know what I'm saying, the way I felt, and coming up in the community and lash outs, and then got in prison, and these emotional things happen. I'm trying to prove myself. I'm around a bunch of dudes trying to prove themselves. And, you know what I'm saying? I got lost in the swirl and got swallowed. And then now I'm looking at them, telling my guys, like, man, listen, we have to talk about and lay all this, because where you began at is where you still at. And if you was getting high, wherever you started that at, that's where you still at.
Wow.
And I like I always tell people, I started using at a young age. So like right now I'm at like 25, 30. But on different levels, I'm growing up to 49. And being responsible and looking at things, and then like things I know that I used to love to be doing, I was like, damn, that's crazy, because for almost 20 something years, I was still like 17.
Wow.
And couldn't identify. I was like, yo, you still hanging with them hoppers. And that's one of the things, a lot of dudes hang with young guys, but because they still teenagers mentally.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
The behaviors and everything show you the accountability, because like when you grew up to become responsible as an adult, there's just certain things they say, adult do manly things, or man do manly things. He's responsible for his manhood. He's responsible for how he live in his community, those he around, and he emulates his retrospect of interest in being that as a man. But as a hopper, man, listen, I got mothers, uncles, and man, I ain't man. I'm gonna do what I want, and ain't nobody gonna tell me nothing.
Yeah.
You know, and those are things that I like. I got a young guy, Quinn. You know, I got a young guy. Shorty, I always tell me he's 26, but he way ahead of himself. Mm-hmm. And he like some of the guys that's like 39, 40, they like, yo, Shorty sharp as ever. I said, nah, he ain't sharp. He just has matured past you while you still stuck. Better catch up, bro, because he gonna be gone.
It's gonna be gone. So why you said no, he ain't sharp. You just stuck.
Yeah, stuck. Yeah.
Been there. Been there. You know, been there, man.
I love that.
Been there, man.
He not sharp. You just stuck. I love it.
Yeah. Hey, look, that's how it is. You grow up in those areas, those environments, and then you start to see the older people, what they become. What they become. Like when you're 18, 19 years old, you start seeing the guys that's 30 and 25 and 30 and 40 years old. And then you become those 20, 30, 40, 50 years old people. You become
the same thing, yeah.
Yeah, the transition happens. And if you're still stuck in that same area, you're in trouble. One of the things that was fortunate for me is when I left that Bell and Garrison community, when I left from there, I got to go. I actually didn't finish a school at Forest Park. I went out to Fort Meade High School, which was probably the blessing for me because I got to go see a whole different culture. I got to see a whole different lifestyle, and these kids were going to school. They knew multiple languages. Like it was mind blowing. It was culture shock for me. It was culture shock. And then to come back to the community, when I came back every day, unfortunate part, I remember this story that I remember. We got out of school at 2:00 and out that way, and out in Anne Arundel County. We got to be in school at 7:45. We got out at 2:00. I would get in the truck and drive all the way back into the city, just to show the guys that they never knew that I was still going to school. They thought I was out of school. Like I got put out. They didn't even have an idea that I was still going to school. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. They had no idea. And you was putting on a show for them. Wow.
Yeah, put on the show, right? And because of who I was, I was adapting to it, thinking that I had to dumb myself down to be around these people.
Wow, that's youth and the things we do. And man, so you would drive all the way back in to show that you was like got kicked out or something, but really you was going to school. Yeah, he frozen again.
Yeah, there you go. I'm sorry. Yeah, I had to dumb myself down. So it's tough to be in an environment like that when you start to learn and get information and you're around people who really don't want it. You got to leave the area and go find people that are equal to where your mindset is, that you got to grow. You got to grow out of the area. You got to grow out of it. I can't stay in this one area right here.
Exactly.
I got to grow.
Yep, that's true. I think a lot of times
we go outside the community. And we go outside the community to go support all these other industries, all these other businesses. We leave our area to go out there because we don't have them anymore, right? We don't have them anymore. So I know how many friends that we know that will leave from Park Heights and go to Towson. How many people will leave to go past Mondawmin to go downtown to Harbor East? So you'll leave your same community. But the strange part is those people who live in Harbor East, Federal Hill, Fells Point, they live there. It's a work-life environment there. Mm-hmm. It's there. It's been removed from our area. It's been removed from our community. So our efforts is to bring all of that stuff back. You think we don't like Starbucks? You think we don't like Chipotle? You think we don't like Dunkin' Donuts? We want all those same things in our community.
Yep.
We go spend our money to go support those businesses anyway outside the area.
Yeah, and a lot of it, we have to change some of our behaviors too.
Yeah, no doubt.
We got to stick in. We got to create businesses. We got to create communities, but we got to stick in on our own side. We can't go to Towson. We can't go to other places.
It's because we don't have a strong infrastructure of understanding that Main Street runs through us. Main Street runs through us. If you lived on Park Heights, Belvedere Park Heights was a main street. It's a main corridor. Everything ran through there. If you wanted to leave from Pikesville, you had to come down Park Heights to get there. You had to come down that. You want to leave from Walbrook Junction, you got to come down North Avenue to get to East Baltimore, get to Hopkins. People didn't drive all the way around. They didn't hit 695. They drove through Main Street. So now that our main streets and our communities are destroyed, They're destroyed. That's what it takes for us to build back up. So we want our communities to be strong. We don't need them to come keep putting 14 houses. I'm flipping houses all day, right? I'm flipping houses every day. I'm coaching people how to flip in these neighborhoods all day. But the people don't have a work-life balance. It's not going to work. We can build as many houses as we want. You can keep building a house, flip another house on Garrison Boulevard for $300,000, but the person can't go to the store.
That's the truth. They don't have the ancillary stuff. Yep. The neighborhood is stabilized.
Or their kids don't go to school there.
Yep.
You can't
grocery stores, corner stores, and things. The economic, the bank, food.
It's not there, but it's up to us to bring that stuff back. So I talk to developers, I talk to investors, I talk to these hard money lenders about these things all the time. When we want to build something on Harford Road and Tivoli, and they tell us, no, that area is not ready yet. I had a conversation with a guy who said that to me. Harford Road and Tivoli, why wouldn't that area be ready yet? We're across the street from a golf course. We're across the street from a golf course. Morgan State University is 6 blocks away.
Right.
We got one of the most prolific high schools, the city high school, sitting on the hill, 8 blocks away from us.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't this area be ready? But the banks, again, the hard money lenders, the banks redline these districts in these areas and don't want to put the money there. They don't want. They tell you that the value's not there, but the value is there.
All of the problems start in policy and racist policy.
Oh yeah,
and racism, and that's where it starts. And it doesn't just hurt Black people; it hurts the city, it hurts white people, it hurts everybody. And that's what's so unfortunate is we rather not have it than to try it so somebody else can access it.
You got Greenmount Avenue, Guilford is sitting there. That Guilford community run you from 600,000 to 7 million.
Yeah.
Do you hear what I said?
But go back up to York. Come back up though. It drastically tanks 25th Street.
But listen, but it's only on that part. It's only on that part. It's because we don't have any of the community support to be able to do that. I drove up from. I swear to you now. I drove from a test drive from Greenmount and Madison to York Road and Cold Spring, all the way up Greenmount Avenue, changed into York Road to Cold Spring. 25 bars. 25 bars on that one stretch from.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
From Greenmount Madison to York Road and Cold Spring. 25 bars.
25 bars.
Yeah, because I actually did a research and they said out of 72 communities in Baltimore, there's 194 bars. And I said that means that in every community, there's at least 2 bars.
At least 2.
That's what it's saying.
2.5. Yeah.
But you think you need to go back and do your research, and you need to thank good old Governor Schaefer, Mayor Schaefer, for that. That was his tax raise employee. You go back and read the research about how he had to change that so they can actually have more revenue coming in, and they use the liquor license to be able to do that. That's why you see bars. It used to, I don't know what the number is, the ratio is. It used to be like 1 bar per 150 residents or something. I forgot what the code used to be.
But he blew that out, eh?
Yeah, if you get a chance to pull it up. Now that's changed.
Wow.
Now that's changed. So they opened that up for more tax revenue to be able to support the city. But you go back and look at that.
But look at how it's disseminating neighborhoods. 25 bars in maybe 7 blocks. That's scary. But that's what we live in. I mean, it's so unfortunate. And you see it all over the city. Liquor stores everywhere. And hip hop chickens and all of these Asian spots, but nothing that really people can buy fresh food. None of that.
That's why I always say, and Russell really educated me on this, and we have to look into educating about learning how to get grounds and lots, but then also maintaining properties that we can extendedly leave to families and generations so that they can continue to have properties that they can live on and do things all together, So that's one of the pieces that I've been researching. And like I say, he has shown me a lot and we talk about a lot, and I'm like, man, how so much came through our hands with so many of our homeboys when we was kids financially, but we wasn't educated on what to do with it. But to shop, do this, crash cars, do this, get high, something, such. I think back on how much money was actually used on getting high and paying bills. That we could literally have been set. And, man, it's just like, but it ain't never too late because it can reacclimate itself. And now I'm trying to bring a pathway that established to bring others along to understand that education is the power to use as a resource to build for later reasons.
Wow, that is it. How much money was spent on getting high and bails? You could be set for life. The amount of money that goes to the state or to in someone else's pocket, it's just unbelievable. But it's so hard to phantom. But the bigger thing that we do know is a lot of this stuff is intentionally done.
Absolutely.
So they've created data around these behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
It's ruined families. They've collected property over these failures. Drugs ushered in the grab for everything. Grab people's properties, grab people's lives. The healthcare community, everybody made money off of the drugs. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's so unfortunate.
Hey, Queen,
everybody makes money. All the systems, the healthcare industry, the pharmaceutical industry, the food industry, all the industries get money off somebody's pain.
Everybody.
It's real unfortunate when you see that all the industries make money off of you. You back, Russ?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry about that.
No problem. We were saying that he was saying that the money. Toine said the money. If he could count the money that was spent on bails.
Oh my God.
And what'd you say? Bails and drugs and getting high.
Partying.
That money.
Drugs, partying. Homeboys that had cars that crashed them.
Police. I wish we could recount that money. I don't even want to recount that money.
He was like that. But that tells you how many industries make money off people's pain. And I was saying the healthcare industry, the pharmaceutical industry, the car industry, all these industries set up around your pain.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then years later, you're still trying to fix it, but it was an intentional effort so everybody can make money.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It supported everybody else except for the community.
Except the community.
And now it makes it acceptable for other cultures and other people to come into those communities and take from it and go. I remember when
the same thing. You see the Korean, they all doing it.
When we had the Freddie Gray thing that happened, I remember hearing on TV, one of the guys that owned the bar on North Avenue, Toine. I don't know if you remember this, but the guy, they burnt this bar down, and the guy said how heartbroken he was because that's the way he puts his son through college. That's how he pays for college. I was sitting on my couch, so mind blown.
By infecting other people, you sending your kid.
Off the back of the people in the community, you keep them intoxicated to support your child going to college.
You're infecting people, but that's okay because your child is getting the benefit.
Not a milk carton, not a box of eggs, not anything. But you're saying that was the thing that put your child through college. Now I'm not saying that our community don't need to have alcoholic beverages in the community, but I think the effort needs to be different. The effort needs to be different. So if it's sit down dining, if you have a liquor store in Baltimore City and you want to have sit down dining to go along with the liquor, that's something different. Right. Then we can welcome that. Because if you go down Charles Street, you go down Fells Point, you may have one bar, one packaged good bar, one packaged good place that sell walkout liquor in it, but the rest of them are restaurants.
Bars with food. Exactly.
Bars with food.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Bars with food.
Food. Lounge.
So I'm not saying that you can't make a living, but I'm thinking that my proposal was that the living that you make has to be responsible. Has to be responsible. If you want to make more money, how about you make it be a part of the community? Make it a restaurant where sit down dining in there. Sit down food in there.
But all of that starts with how you feel about the people.
Yeah, absolutely.
The people aren't worthy of that effort, and
I
that's.
don't patronize a store, any store in this city. I don't patronize any store that has a plastic barrier up in the store. I don't go in those stores. I don't spend my money there. If you have a
I'm with
plexiglass
you,
up in
bro.
the store, I don't go there.
I don't go to any of these, and no inner city carry out.
I don't go there. I don't go there.
It's
you mean to tell me?
disrespectful to our communities.
Yeah,
I don't do it.
It's wholeheartedly.
I don't do it. It's
wholeheartedly.
awful.
You tell me McDonald's and Burger King and all these other places that's in the same high traffic areas don't have to have that, but you feel as well. If you feel unsafe, you shouldn't be in the area.
If you so unsafe, why you here? I don't go in any of them.
Why are you there?
No.
Why are you there? So yeah, that's my point of view when it comes to that kind of economic injustice. Is our choices that we make, but our communities are so devastated and thinking that we have to live like that. That's not what we need. And they put SNAP and the rest of the stuff in the areas. That's not a makeup for the condition that the store is in. You want to put SNAP in it. That's just more money for them to be able to make and take more stuff out of the community.
Yeah.
It's not fresh food. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, you're right.
If I'm about, you got to make a choice with the kid coming to the store. Is he gonna come in the store and buy some celery or some orange juice, or is he gonna buy the Reese's cup?
You know what he gonna buy. You know it. Stop fooling yourself.
You want me to get tomatoes, or you want me to get the Reese's cup? Listen, I think I'm going with the Reese's cup.
I think I'm going with the Reese's cup too. I don't even eat them. Hey, Russ. So we're an hour in. I want you to talk about what you're doing now, and then we're gonna close out.
Okay. So what we are doing now, we have AskRussCarrington.com. If you go to the website, you can see it. We are fully vested in coaching, fix, and flip. So what we do is we take our clients from acquisition education to feasibility, which is the cost structure it takes to be able to rehab these houses. We teach them what it costs to be able to rehab them. We work with them through the design and build process of it. We bring the funding to the table. So our clients don't have to go out and look for hard money or funding sources. We bring that money to the table for them. We show them how that process works. We help them through the construction process to put those houses back on the market to do one of two things: fix and flip them, which means that they rehab them, did all that process that we have, and we actually sell those houses on the open market, or we teach them how to do what's called buy and hold, where we're actually renting those properties out in the neighborhood. The same fix and flip process or fixed process, renovating it, acquisition, bringing the money to the table, renovating it, design and build, fixing that property up, and then holding that property as a rental property, or what they call doors now, how many doors you can have. We actually help them through that process, and we'll also give you some backup follow-up on that part, on showing you how to actually refinance the cash out to be able to move on to the next project. So it's a fully vested coaching program. They work with other coaches inside our programs, not just myself. I'm the spearhead of the project, but we also have other coaches that sit in on our fix and flip projects. Our electricians are licensed up. Our plumbers are licensed up. We have a plethora of people. We also deal with some other coaches that work with us on our fix and flip, but they all coach in the process. We show you how the sheetrock goes, how the plumbing goes, what you should do with the electrical part. It's multifaceted. Then we also have the books that we put out too. So I have 4 books that's out right now. We have our planner, our fix and flip planner that's out. You can get that on Amazon. We have our quick guide to real estate book that's out, and I just finished up a quick guide to commercial real estate that's just finished up. That should be out in the next maybe 30 days. We'll start the promotions on that soon too.
Damn, shorty. Back on B&G, shorty.
You doing real estate big, bro.
Back on Erndale, shorty. Gracious.
So the coaching part of it, even if you don't you can't afford to. I think, man, you laughed about this the other day, Ms. Queen, about the cost it takes to be able to work with me one-on-one. Even if you can't afford to do the one-on-one coaching, we do have a free platform. So if you go to Facebook, go to the Ask Russ platform, you can join the Ask Russ coaching piece on there, and that's actually free. So we give away a certain amount of free information on that site, so you can actually get some information, get some tips, get some rules to the fix and flip. You can get off. We do this thing called Flip Tip Tuesday. That's free. We do it on Instagram and we do it on Facebook, where you can just learn some stuff.
Oh,
so
tomorrow
you don't have to.
Tomorrow you can get some game then.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're giving out game.
Absolutely. Okay. And we're about to launch our. I'm not competing with you, trust me. All right, but we're going to launch our our Clubhouse chat room too. So you can go to the Clubhouse chat room, and that's also Ask Russ. We on Ask Russ Carrington on all the platforms, but the one that's going to come on the Clubhouse one is just other investors from other areas, other communities, other states. We're all on there just talking about our projects, what we do on the fix and flip, new tools, new resources. It's just an open platform to just talk about renovation, redevelopment, and just an open dialogue.
Okay, that's what's up. All right, so you're doing strictly real estate. You're flipping and flipping. Are you gentrifying Baltimore? Are you one of them gentrifiers? You know, I said they come to gentrifiers. Are you gentrifying, bro? You're a black gentrifier.
You know what, Miss Queen? It's hard. It's hard to keep.
Gotta ask you.
Look. It's hard to keep our people focused, right? I try to bring us good quality stuff, right? I try to get out. Like, I like specific areas, right? I like specific areas that we like to flip in Baltimore in, right? That other people are attacking them too. But we like to make sure, again, the areas that we flip in have a great work-life balance. Now, I don't care what area it's in, as long as we have a good work-life balance. Again, our people like dog parks. We got pit bulls. We got all kinds of dogs. We like dog parks. We like dog parks in our area too. Yeah. So I mean, I like to build in every area, but we like to make sure that it has those three things, those key elements to it: a work-life balance. Can you walk to somewhere conveniently to get good food, fresh food? Can you walk your kids around the park? Around the neighborhood safely. Okay. You know, that's what we like to build. So no,
you ain't too deep in Baltimore. Then you ain't in the city.
I'm open to gentrification, but again, we gotta have good schools to be able to do that.
Okay, so that means you're not in certain neighborhoods if you got all of that work-life balance. A lot of Baltimore City ain't got that. That's black. I know that. So.
Again, it comes down to the funding. It comes down to the funding, and our schools got to be good. We got to have good educated schools. We got to have good. They tear down enough of them. They funding them. The schools, but they can't keep the teachers in there. We need good schools. The people who are coming into these areas to gentrify them, they're not going to these public schools.
Absolutely, and that's the intention. Those schools will change as the population changes. They closed these schools. This is an intentional effort to change the population. Those schools, most of the times, if you look at gentrification, before it actually clicks, they get rid of everybody. They let the schools deteriorate. They reinvent the neighborhoods, and then they reinvent the school system.
But we're here. We're trying to do all of that. We want to be a part of all of that. That's the voice that we bring. We want to be a part of all of that. We want to be a part of understanding who's going to come back into these areas, and we have a good shot of doing it. Like I said, we have funding that we bring to the table. So our people are not, and that's going through our coaching program. They aren't looking for funding. It's not for everybody either. So I don't want people calling me up tomorrow like, I want to go to fix and flip. Listen, this is a job. This is not. This is a lifestyle. It's a job. It's not just I'm gonna go in and flip this one house. I'm gonna make $1 million. This process is something that's long going. It's a career change. When you get into this part of real estate, what we do, this is really a career change. Fixing and flipping and holding is a career change. It's a lot of work. So if you work a 9 to 5 right now and that's overwhelming, you should stay there.
Yeah.
Yep. I hear that. That's good advice. That might be your jewel for the night.
Yeah.
You work a 9 to 5 and you ain't ready, stay there.
Gotta
know. There's some work right here, Miss Queen. There's some work.
Yeah, that's real talk right there.
You gotta know work-life balance.
Yeah, I crawl up the steps, and I'm not even supposed to be out there as much as I am, but I crawl up the steps every night when I come in here. I'm telling you, because I'm exhausted. I'm on the field. I'm in the field, so they get to see my face. We building, we're rehabbing. If you see some of my Facebook stuff, we out there working. So we out there working. It's not just sitting behind a desk and we like pushing buttons. There's some work.
Okay, well, listen, where can people get in touch with you? And then we're gonna get out of here. If
Everything.
they have all of their bags together, because to sit one on one with you, that bag got to be swelling.
It got to
So
be
if your
right.
bag is right, you can sit and ask Russ anything.
Yeah.
This is where you go.
Yeah. It's all, we're Ask Russ Carrington on all of the platforms, even the website, www.axrusscarrington.com, and then everything Ask Russ Carrington on all of the platforms. You can find us Twitter, Facebook, uh, Instagram, everything is Ask Russ Carrington.
Okay, I put that in the chat. And all of the platform, ask Russ Carrington. If
Yep.
they want to get in touch with you. So, you want to say anything? You want to say anything before I close it out?
People there was a lot of powerful things said. I hope something is left with you that you can take, help, use, get in contact. Because a pathway is definitely being built through communities. But all of us play a part to make life work and balance equal out together for equal opportunities also. So for anyone who has formerly impacted people or family members, you can reach me at Hope Baltimore, hopeinbaltimore.org, or at Antoine Qualzell, email, at AntoineQualzL@gmail.com, or 443-449-4086. Every Tuesday night, 811 Cathedral, 6 p.m. Come get something shaking on your mind. Yikes!
So tomorrow you can go see them at 6 p.m. You can hit Russ up and get you a free game on Tuesdays. You can get that free game from Russ on the Tuesday. Tuesday's hot right here.
I like that.
Yeah. So, Russ, we want to say thank you for coming through.
Thank you, Miss Queen. Thank you, man. Appreciate y'all.
Authentic testimony.
Appreciate you, bro.
We appreciate you. Thank you for coming through and talking to the people, and that's kind of getting a little insight on Ask Russ. We got you outside of Ask Russ, so that's what's up.
Hey, look, anytime, Miss Queen, anytime.
I appreciate you for sure. Listen, we are here this whole week. We'll be back here tomorrow with Fit Twins talking that's health and wellness from a Black-centered perspective. Tomorrow at 6:30. We Black Box Radio. We boxed up and out. Can I get some deuces from my brothers? Deuces.
Deuces.
We gone.